It's awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eye Care Marketing Innovation segment as part of the Eye Care Marketing Insights, Innovation, and Impact live broadcast series with my very special guest, Dr. Janelle Davison, and her husband and business co-owner, Mr. Jimmie Davison. I'm your host, Dr. Sandy Eveleth, and whether you're live with us today or watching during the replay, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop us a comment or question below about the topics we're about to discuss. So let me introduce this dynamic duo, as well as the amazing software they've created to help you sell more of what your patients desire in a format that'll make your staff excited to demonstrate. Paradeyem, which is pronounced as I just mentioned, but spelled P-A-R-A-D-I-E. I'm sorry, E-Y-E-M. Paradeyem. I don't know why I want to keep misspelling that. It was born from Dr. Janelle and her partner, husband Jimmie, looking to fill gaps in the optical side of your practice. As practice owners, whether it was because of an incorrect charge, a low capture rate, and or low overall revenue in the optical, they knew they had to find a solution, and fast. They knew it would take a dramatic change in how they thought about selling frames. They knew it would take a paradigm shift. Dr. Janelle Davison and Jimmie Davison have owned their private practice for over 10 years. With Dr. Janelle's experience and skill in seeing things from the patient point of view, coupled with Jimmie's background in process improvement and technology, they were able to find this brilliant solution. Paradeyem was designed and developed with a private practitioner in mind. So I just have to say, I'm thrilled and honored to be speaking with you both tonight. I've watched your inspirational posts, personal and professional success updates, and extraordinary patient-based educational posts on LinkedIn for quite some time now. In fact, I reached out to connect with you on LinkedIn, Dr. Janelle, because of your incredible leadership in our industry, as well as your style and beauty inside and out. I love the stories you tell and the relationship you both share, both personally and professionally. And again, I'm so sorry that I keep misspelling it, but I'm going to run the banner along the bottom that shows exactly where everybody can find it. And we're going to be sharing the actual site itself in just a moment. But before we dive into the benefits of using your innovative software and the software itself, I would love for you both to briefly expand on the story of why you developed this software, if I missed anything, and how amazing it is to work with your spouse, and maybe a little bit about how you developed the actual software in case anyone else in our community would like to learn how to create their own software solutions for other aspects of the eye care industry. So please take it away and let me know.
So Sandy, Dr. Sandy, thank you for having us today. And when we talked off stage, I said, I felt like I know you. That's the power of social media. We've been connected for a while, and I love your posts, and I love everything that you're doing in the Optometry community as well. We're both very excited to be here today, and thank you for the invitation. And so, like you said, I'm Dr. Janelle O'D. I'm also known as the Dry Eye Mentor. I'm the CEO and founder of Green Eyes Vision Center, as well as Premier Eye Spa. And my husband is the CFO. So we've been working together for a while in our Vision Center. And like you said, Paradeyem was born out of a need, a necessity. Just like every private practitioner, solo practice practitioner, there'll be days you may come in and one of your key members is not in the office or called off, and they're very versed with calculating charges and working with various insurance plans. And so you're kind of like, what am I going to do? Or everybody's there, but then they're making calculations with sticky notes and calculators, and they mix up and do math do math incorrectly. And then you have that happen multiple times a day. And then you have patients that are overcharged or undercharged. And then also, you just want to work on your revenue per patient. Anytime that you're in business, you're providing a service, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you are being profitable. And so all of those things happened regularly. And so we had to come up with a solution. And the solution at first was a simple Excel sheet. At the time, my husband was still full-time corporate America. So any of those things would happen, I'm calling him throughout the day. And I'm just like, oh my God, somebody called off or they calculated charges wrong. And so it just makes the day very stressful. And so I think it was just one day you were like, we've got to figure this out. What can we do? And you sat down and you went through every insurance plan, because we'll get into it more, but we do packaging. That's one solution. But every practitioner, including myself, prior to Paradeyem, we tried to do packaging, but we couldn't figure out how to do it for each insurance plan, right? So most doctors will package, but they say, oh, that's for cash paying because it's easy. But how do you take that same package or same package options and be able to apply that to a person that's cash, iMed, VSP, Spectera, and Davis? And that was the dilemma. And so every time I tried to get in and do it in between patients, after work, I just couldn't, and his background is engineering. He does a lot of math. He likes all that stuff. And so one day he sat down and he said, we've got to figure this out. And then once he went through every plan, he actually calculated a Excel sheet. And I'll let him talk about it a little bit more, but we put in Excel first and we use it in office in Excel. And as we will hire or we have staff members use it, they would say, Dr. Davison, Mr. Jimmie, this makes things so much easier for us. And so we realized we were onto something. So we said, well, what else could we do to make it better or easier? What should we add? What should we take away? And we've had using it for about a year. And one of our opticians said, man, this is the real deal. You guys should think about, commercializing this. So other doctors, other offices can definitely utilize this. And so in about 2018 was the process, or 2019?
Yeah, probably end of 2018.
We started the process of taking that idea that became an Excel sheet to the full-fledged software that you see today. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But Jimmie, did I miss anything? I'll let you give your background.
No, yeah, she summed it up very well. But yeah, I have the technology background, engineering degree. I worked as a technology professional in corporate America for about 15 years. And so she spelled out the need. A lot of private ODs talk about revenue per patient, how to make the selling process more efficient. As a process improvement person and as a financial person, she mentioned CFO. I want to know, how do we speed up the transactions? How do we present something in a professional manner? And how do we reduce errors in calculation? So the Excel spreadsheet was nice, but it evolved to something that's more user-friendly. Younger folks can, understand Excel spreadsheets, but you have opticians and you have staff, up and down the spectrum, and an Excel spreadsheet is not the best. So we decided to evolve.
That's awesome. And whenever we get these major aha moments, the fact that you, Jimmie, were perfectly positioned with the process improvement and the financial side of it, matched with Dr. Janelle, who's doing this day-to-day handling of the staff issue and patients being able to figure out what's the best way to present these packages. I mean, I didn't even think about that, Dr. Janelle, about the different insurances. Of course, it's going to be different pricing. I mean, what an effort that you guys have put into being able to research all of that and figure out how much it's going to cost for every little detail, every little upsell, etc. So can you guys show me a little bit of a demo? Would that be okay if we did that now? Or is there anything you want to add before we go ahead and do that? Or
Well, we can show you the screens. We don't have a full-fledged demo.
That's okay.
A demo works better if you schedule a one-on-one demo, and our demos are free. We do demos all the time.
Awesome.
Jimmie handles those demos. We actually have several practices now, just under a dozen, who are working and using the site regularly each day. And we did a full beta test mode. Hey, Dr. Justin, she was one of our beta test doctors last year, and she stayed on once we actually put in full production. But he sits down, and usually our demos about 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah. He goes through several cases. The way the software works and the premise behind the software is the packaging solution, which is important. And then we've added the ability for doctors to customize those packages and the recommendations. We call those attributes. And so right now I use the system actively in the office, and we've been using it. So if we don't have it, if we didn't have it, our day would be difficult because our staff is so used to going in and utilizing Paradeyem to come up with their charges for the patients. But I can use it as well in the exam room. And as I'm having my discussion with the patient, we're going over their assessment and a treatment plan, I can make recommendations about not only their lens solutions and actually indicate that into the system, but also if I have patients under the slit lamp that I'm noticing some early ocular surface disease issues, then they can simply be treated with warm compresses, tears, and lid hygiene. I can recommend a dry eye kit for them as well. And that same thing will populate at the checkout. So that way we don't have that excitement in the room with the patient, and they get out to the optician and the recommendation as far as like photochromatic lenses, higher index lenses, and a dry eye kit get lost in discussion. All those things are going to populate for the optician as well.
Wow, that's huge. I didn't even know that. So for medical optometry practices, you have a lot of that information plugged in as well. And the fact that it communicates with the front desk is amazing. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, I can totally see from a marketing standpoint how you can set yourself apart from other optometrists in the area, even showcasing that you have this system and sort of bragging about it, that, if you're the only ones in the area, you could certainly get some press from this. You could get on television for it. There's just, I mean, of course I go right to that, to that aspect of things, but this is incredible. I mean, I hope that our viewers and other eye care providers understand the benefits of this, the amount of time. I mean, again, where you're a process improvement guy, Jimmie, I bet that you could actually calculate on a daily basis how much time staff is saving just from having this, in the practice,
Well, yeah,
and then you go ahead.
Now I was going to say, so one benefit that some of the doctors have with the software is you can create the quote ahead of time because you already have your packages for your office. You can actually create them ahead of time, save them, and then when a patient is actually in the office, the only thing you have to do is change the frame.
Wow.
Cost. So it's literally a 5-minute transaction. We had scenarios where maybe staff didn't show up. Somebody didn't show up. We're short staffed. We go in and we just, populate the quotes, save them. And then, we just literally go in the system and retrieve the quote. And all we have to do at that point when they're sitting in front of us is look at the doctor recommendations. If she recommended something else, and put in the frame cost. And it's literally 5 minutes, whether insurance or not, the transaction is less than 5 minutes.
That's
so
huge.
I guess I want to back up a little bit too, and because we mentioned quotes and attributes. I guess if someone's just coming in, kind of how Paradeyem works, what's the thought process behind it? Because it's remarkable and it has so many different facets that can be used in the office, like certain ways that doctors use it works great for them. And it's like, wow, we didn't even think about that. You can use this system in that way. But what's the premise of Paradeyem, how it works?
Yeah. And I can, just when you're looking at the site, that you have on the screen, I can just kind of scroll down and show you a few things that will speak to, what it is that the software does. So, on our website, you'll see that there's a dashboard, and that's really the home for the opticians. And the strength of the software is there's an admin back end, and then there's a front end. The back end is where the doctor, the office manager will go in and actually create the packages. And they'll also select, what kind of attributes they want to use for their office. If they want to link active device, a person who uses devices frequently to blue light, then we can link it in the background. Or if you want to link high minus prescription to somebody who needs a high index, you can link it in the background. So the doctor can literally go in when she's with the patient and actually say, this person has a high minus prescription. This person is an active device user, and it's going to actually recommend it. And so instead of a physical handoff to the optician, it's going to be a handoff virtually. So when the optician is actually sitting there with the patient, they'll see on their screen the doctor recommended it's going to highlight certain add-ons that the doctor recommended. So the strength of the system is a back end that the office can manage, and you can literally change it on the fly. It's customized packages. If you feel like, we need to add something to our package today, you can go in the background, log in, add it to the package, hit save. And on the front end, all the opticians, all the staff will actually see those changes immediately.
And when I see the benefit, we all know the recommendation that when the doctor actually hands off the instructions to the optician, the staff that's working with the patient in the optical part of things, that our recommendation is gold. If we sort of get in the habit of just sending the patient to the optical, or not doing that official handoff, that all, those upsells, those capture rates, all of those things may go away very quickly. So now, even if you have to just, things are getting busy, you aren't able to do the regular handoff, you have that recommendation. The staff can easily show the front end of it to the patient. Oh, I see Dr. Janelle went ahead and recommended that you get the blue light and the AR, et cetera, et cetera. So you get that extra stamp of approval saying, well, the doctor recommended this. And they can actually, they can see it in the front end of things. That's awesome. Again, these all these little pieces, you guys were really, really aware and cognizant of user experience. I'm kind of a website geek. I have this digital marketing agency where I teach people how to use their websites better and how to fix them. And I've been doing this for 15 years or so. And the biggest thing is user experience, is you want to eliminate as much friction as you possibly can. And you guys have done this with this software. I mean, that's incredible. Tell
And
me,
we've seen that. Yeah,
oh,
that's a great way to summarize it. Reduce friction at every point. So in the handoff, our handoff is a little more than virtual. We do a buzzing system. The optician comes in and we make the recommendations, but I like to reinforce the recommendation, and Paradeyem allows me to do that. And then if the patient forgets, then you have that, you can turn around and say, oh, yep, she recommended this. Remember, you have early cataracts. That's why you need to make sure you have photochromatic lenses. They can see all that there. And then also I do sell a lot of supplements, nutraceuticals, lash serums. I can make those same recommendations in that system. And it helps reinforce the conversations that I had in the exam room with the patient. And so when I go out now, I don't feel as, well, did they get it? Did the staff remember?
Right.
Did you remember? It's in there, and they can make those recommendations for the patients. And so it has so many benefits for the private practitioner, because that's what we are. We've been practicing solo practitioner, just me, for the last 11 years. And so efficiency is important, and ways to maybe make sure you increase in the capture rate and revenue per patient. And the packaging allows you to do that because you're able to tier your packages. So personally, we have 3 packages, and we kind of have your good, better, best type thing packaging. And so some doctors may have some reluctance of wanting to do packages where they feel like, well, maybe everybody's going to get the less expensive package. But in reality, when you have 3, people always pick dead in the middle or up top. We very rarely sell any of our lower end or basic package. And even our lower end is not low end. Think about the package. I put everything in a package as a base that I feel every patient needs to have. And so we're 100% AR in our office, because all of our packages have AR. And so there's no, I don't want AR, as a doctor, you want to optimize your vision. So you're going to get these lenses that don't put an anti-reflective coating on there. You're not going to see as clearly, but we don't have those issues because we have the packaging system. So as a base across the board, you're going to get an anti-glare. Now your tier may be different, but you're going to get an anti-glare. And so it reduces all of that back and forth, as we coin nickel and diming, when you're at the desk with the optician. Now you're really focusing on the optician and the patient, the solution that is best for that patient, and then customizing that package even more by the add-ons that are recommended and the attributes that are recommended by the doctor.
And again, Jimmie, if you sat down and calculated, and you too, Janelle, how many more AR that wouldn't have been sold if you hadn't been doing it as a package, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. But again, you're not doing it for the money. It's the best thing for the patient. Of course, you're giving them the best prescription you can so they can see really well. You want them to see exceptionally well with the AR on the lens. So absolutely. But again, it's amazing. You just add that up day in, day out, how much more that brings to your practice. It's amazing. And then again, it's that thing where if a patient goes down the street, and another doctor, if one doctor's not using this sort of packaging and another doctor does, they're going to look at that other doctor as being advanced, more technologically, forward thinking, futuristic thinking. So you guys are setting yourselves apart as those experts.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it from a tech standpoint, definitely. And I've referenced in the exam room when patients sometimes ask about cost, and I say, I want to put everything in the system. And I say, we have a special software that we use that will plug all your copays in, and then the software is going to tell you what your options are and what your out-of-pocket expense is. But you're right, from the tech standpoint, patients like to see that you are evolving as a practice, as a practitioner, and doing everything that you can to give them that great experience that they're looking for. So definitely, yeah, I guess on that aspect, we're definitely doing that as well.
Yeah, you definitely are. And
as we've been using the software for couple of years, we started from a spreadsheet, and then we developed it to a web-based software, and it truly took a paradigm shift, and that's why we call it Paradigm for opticians. We've had staff come in and out, but now this everybody knows Brilliant Eyes does packaging. Staff knows that Brilliant Eyes does packaging, and so as the doctor mentioned, the back and forth has eliminated a lot more efficiency. From a business standpoint, you get to choose the stuff that not only is profitable for you, but also what's best for the patient.
Right.
So that that was one of the main things for us. She mentioned 100% AR. Same with poly. If we want to be 100% poly and no plastic, because it's just not optimal for the patient. That's a decision that you can make as an office. And the staff has to be able to be aligned with that paradigm shift, right? And not deviate. I always tell the doctors that I talk to that everybody's got to put their hand in the middle and say, we're on the same team.
Right.
And let's go forward. You can't have one person off to the side still using their sticky note. And then your other optician is presenting this professional looking quote out of the software. It's a paradigm shift. It's something that is very, I think is low risk for an office, because we can attest to revenue per patient. We can attest to the efficiency and the capture rate that we've gained from the software.
Sure. Well, and I think the other thing too, a couple of things that you pointed out, or that I picked up from that as well, is there is going to be this perception that when you say, oh, well, we plugged all of this in and the system is going to spit it out. Now, there is this level of confidence and eliminating human error. I mean, having to sit there, and I've seen it happen in different practices that I've worked at, where the staff is writing it down on a piece of paper, and they're adding it up and they're trying to figure out, then they're getting in with the insurance, and oh, wait a minute, you're on this other insurance. And so, there's just this perception that, oh my gosh, and the time, saved, the patient is in and out of there so much quicker. And, you're doing that as a convenience for the patients. One quick question, and we'll get back to, you going through the features, is, do you offer training on the software itself, or is it just, it's pretty user friendly? So, the doctor might end up doing it first and then training the staff. How does that work, training on the actual software?
Yeah, we do. Part of the setup is we set it up for you. So we send you a questionnaire, because this is your own packages, whatever you're comfortable with your office, you provide those, and then we set it up. And then, yes, there is a training. We do like a pre-go live training. And then in addition, we send, we have a training site with videos, as well as frequently asked questions, as well as a form if you have any questions that you want to ask.
Perfect.
But it is user friendly. Again, I say it is a shift for offices. So in the beginning, we always want to make sure that we're available to train.
That's awesome.
Some people get, when doing the same thing for a lifetime, it's hard to get them to go in another direction. So definitely willing to train, because it's something that we can attest to. It works, but you gotta be all in. And if you're not trained properly, then it's not going to be good for the doctor, and it's not going to be good for us, because we want to make sure we have, this software is doing what it's supposed to do.
Do you find, I would think in this day and age of, we're getting trained on EMRs, EHRs, and we've been doing that for years. Do you find that there's some objections? Are you finding that there is a little bit, that's where a little bit of friction of people wanting to get this? I can't imagine. This is just such a no-brainer. This software is just so amazing. But do you find that that's the case, that doctors might be a little bit nervous that their staff might not be on board, or that they themselves, oh, here's another piece of, software? Yeah. Or, okay. But I wonder too, I would think that, I'm of that age group where I might have one foot out the door of actually practicing, but because I consult for practices, I stay ahead of the technology and whatnot. But I would imagine that folks your age and younger, and folks my age that are tech savvy would understand that this really isn't going to take that much as far as training goes. But again, Let me know what some of the
Yeah,
objections are.
I mean, that's a fear. I know when we first started using it, I was concerned about some of the opticians not wanting to do what we thought was best for the patients in the practice. And so you're always going to have those people that are a little bit fearful, but that's why it's important for everybody to kind of be on the same page so that you can encourage each other, have a safe space so that way if additional training is needed, we made it pretty easy that you can train on your own. I don't Our software is no harder than used than like a Revolution EHR or a CompuLink, switching from one software to another, because we did that as well. We had one software for our EHRs and then switched to another one.
Sure.
So it's no different than that. Or if you're using any other like ABB, I think a lot of offices are using some type of platform to keep things efficient and order items and products. And so I don't think it's any more difficult than that. But you're going to have those who are a little bit afraid of change. And the doctors that are contacting us, that's the first step. You're seeing that you definitely want to do something to make the environment better for this patient, the staff, and the overall office. And then you just got to encourage each other. He's being
Sure.
pretty modest, but process improvement, project management for years for billion-dollar companies traveling all over the globe. So processing and making sure that you feeling confident in what you need to be able to be successful with the platform is not going to be an issue. And when he says we, he means him,
Right, right.
I am not the tech one in this marriage. Okay. I'm the reason why we needed this software, because I'm probably like,
there you go.
And so if I can use it, people, then anybody can use it, because I can barely, my 9-year-old, I'm giving her my cell phone and say, how do I do this? What do you do again?
Awesome.
So I may be young at heart, but tech is not my deal. So if I can use this in the exam room, plug in my attributes, then pretty much anybody can use it. And that was the whole point.
Sure.
Even my son, who was 12, I'm like, one day we get super short, he can go in and get this software up and come up with some package quotes to be able to talk to a patient and say, well, this is what it costs for your lenses. So we wanted it that simplistic.
Well, and that's exactly it. That's what you have to do, because onboarding, and it's getting tough in post pandemic, or during these tough times, is getting staff to stay on board, and it's true for pretty much across all industries. But anytime you can make something where onboarding is a lot easier, and that's what you're doing that for a practice. So of course it starts with the top down, getting buy-in from the owner of the practice, and then trickling on down to the staff and whoever may be managing the optical as well. You mentioned that you guys do the setup for the practice. Is it where, again, I had a private practice for 15 years. And again, this is where I really see the benefit of this. If I had it all set up and I thought, what, I'm bringing in a whole other line of either, lenses from a different company or frame manufacturers or whatever, can I then go in there if I'm feeling pretty savvy? Can I go into the back end and go ahead and update, what fees might be or anything like that, or what my packages would be if I wanted to add a specific package? It sounds like you can, but I was wondering, because I know you mentioned that you guys do some of the setup.
We help with the setup in the beginning, because the setup in the beginning, just when we did the beta test, it could be a little bit overwhelming, and we don't want that to be the reason why you don't get a good footing. So we really help assist, or if a doc is super savvy, owner or manager is super savvy, we give you it's like a template, and you go in and you can fill it in and set up yourself, but you totally have access to the admin panel, which makes it unique. Like my husband stated earlier, you can make that decision in the middle of the day. Sometimes as an owner, you may get a lab bill. You're like, oh my gosh, no, we can't use this anymore. Let's change our tier, or let's change this brand. And you can do that immediately. Send an email out to the opticians and say, hey, FYI, you're going to see a different, maybe tier in your package for this, but we made a change. So you totally have control over all of that. It's just in the beginning to reduce some of the feeling of being overwhelmed when you implement new softwares, but everybody's at different tech levels. And so far, the doctors that have used our process to get on board and set up, it's worked out well for them. Then we have training for staff. And then, like I said, we have a training site that you can go into on your own time before these different check-in calls to make sure that you're up to speed. And if you have any questions and things like that.
That's huge. Yeah. Your customer service is amazing for this software. Not that you have all the time in the world, but that's so important. I work with so many different software companies, and it's amazing. Some really big software companies don't have any of this kind of hand holding, or don't even have a library of training videos in order to do that. So not only do you have that, but you make it easy by doing the initial setup, so that that initial overwhelm is taken away from the doctors or the managers or the owners. And, I mean, of course I'm, and we can talk afterwards, but I have all these great ideas about how you guys can market it. I'm sure you've already been doing that, but there's so many pieces to this that I didn't even realize. And I looked at the site. I don't have my private practice. I'm not, I'm mainly consulting, so I'm not using software like this, but I love learning all about it so I can recommend it to the doctors that I work with. But it's amazing how much you've covered everything from initial onboarding to customer service handholding to how the staff is going to handle this, and also how the patients are going to receive this. So it's absolutely amazing. And I'm thinking too, and like you mentioned that you could send the opticians an email. I'm seeing where big centers would greatly benefit from this, whether you're talking about ophthalmology or optometry practices that have multiple satellite offices. And, this is just something that's part of the onboarding. This is the software we're using. So I'm sure that's been on your mind, that you've thought about that. And then also some of the lens and frame companies, I don't know if you have any kind of collaborations going on there. And then the last thing I'll say, then you guys could take it away, is Jimmie, I'm sure you've probably done this in part of the, sales and marketing aspect, but to really demonstrate how much money is left on the table because they're not using your software. I mean, that's where you really grab, the whole marketing end is grab the emotion, and sales is tell them the logic part of it. But, tell me all about all the different stuff I just kind of threw on the table there for you.
On a recap. Yeah. And so I was gonna say a lot of things. I'll let him get to the money part and percents and all the good stuff. But to those that are listening, the reason why, honestly, that these things have been thought of, because we've walked this life, we've lived this life. So every pain point, we've had that pain point. Every issue that you mentioned with these large companies that we work with, even now, I have companies that sell me, pieces of equipment that are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's sold, you don't hear anything, you can't get any support. So definitely, we don't want to put anything out that we feel like, even going forward as we grow, just like we do our business, our business has a great reputation. We have like over 450 Google reviews, positive, wow, just shy of a 5.0, but wow, that's how we operate. We operate in excellence. And so we always take our customer, our patient, top of mind. And usually whatever we do is because we walk that life. And that's the reason why we can be so passionate about it. But yes, revenue per patient, percents, money is off the table. That's one reason why we wanted to, implement. And the money has been picked up off the table for several years now. We talk about that.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on, point Dr. Janelle, my wife, made, as well as some points that you made, the doctor, one of the keys is top-down support from the office manager, from the doctor. Sometimes I have doctors who literally, they may want to implement the software, kind of throw it over the fence and hope it works in the office. And it really has to be top-down. You gotta, you have to really push it in the office. It's got to be support from top down to the staff. In reference to percentages and revenue per patient, I can say one of the benefits is stuff that an optician cannot normally sell as an add-on, in addition to the glasses. When you package it, it makes it easier, right? If you have an edger in-house, for example, why not package roll and polish with one of your packages? Why not, in this pandemic, why not package Antifog solution? Some of that stuff that's harder for the optician to sell after they've sold the glasses. Why not say included in this package is these lenses are roll and polished. You have this Antifog solution. It's got blue light lenses, etc.
Warranties.
Warranty. One of the biggest warranty cash cows for our office is an extended warranty that we add, and that it makes the package attractive, right? It makes it more of a catch for the patient. So that, that's the revenue side. And I can speak, and this is not an exaggeration. I mean, our revenue per patient increased from about 30 to 40% in a year.
I believe it.
And it's solely due to the software. As simple as that. There's no more I want what's covered, even if it's not what the doctor recommended. It's what the doctor recommended are your options.
Well, the neat thing is too, is because I know, again, with when I worked and we had a small staff, it was a real mom and pop kind of place as well. And your software becomes the salesperson. It almost takes a little bit of that feeling of, ooh, I have to do sales because I work in the optical, where Dr. Janelle recommended all of these things. I'm just presenting them to you. I don't have to now sell them. It doesn't feel kind of that icky feeling of, ooh, I'm selling you stuff, because you're only selling them stuff that really does benefit the patient. And now they can look at the software and say, look, the software kind of guides you. I don't know if I don't know if you guys have thought about that.
So, when you're calculating on sticky, they're looking over and making sure you do that math right, and they want to see it and recheck it themselves. And so everybody feels a little bit more confident when something's punched into a system. Just like when we go anywhere and numbers come out. And so we're a little more confident in that. And that helps everybody. I say it helps our patients to be empowered. And if they decide they don't want to purchase anything that day, a quote can be printed out and they can take it home. And so that way they can go home, or they make a purchase and they go home and their spouse is like, what did you do? And she goes, well, honey, I needed this, and here's my quote. And the doctor said I had to have this. This is why I picked this package. And we don't get a lot of that buyer's remorse off of the lenses. People still say, you know what, I don't like this frame on me. We'll get that every now and then. But we don't really have any buyer's remorse on the lenses, because the patients feel empowered about their purchase and they can explain their purchase.
I love it. And you know how much fun that is when you print that out and say, here, just show him this or show her this. That's perfect. I love that. That's it's incredible. And then I think the last piece too is, I would envision that a lot of the eye care vendors, the eyewear, the eyeglass, the frame, they would be interested. I don't know what that looks like. And we can chat after, we turn off the camera here, but what kind of things that you can do there too. Cause I would envision that they would absolutely support this software, because it's going to help, whether it's the labs or the materials themselves, that they would be all over this.
Definitely labs. It's definitely beneficial for a lab, because, you can envision a lab actually saying, I want you to, put all of my lenses in your packages. Yeah. So, and we pretty much use the same lab for all of our packages. So the lab that we use, they don't know, obviously that we package, but they know that there's an increase in sales to Brilliant Eyes Vision Center. So, they call us about everything that they have at this point, because
it's time to let them know why there's an increase in the sales.
We've got some perks, we've got some no remake or free remakes and things like that, and so it does help you establish relationships. And when we were incorporating the Antifog, I think one of the vendors called and said, how are you able to sell this much? How are you getting this much Antifog? Because we're coupling it in with their packages, and so some of our tier packages, the higher tiers, patients, oh yeah, I definitely need that. And so it was a no-brainer. So like I said, the whole system is a win-win for everybody. And that's why now we see how we're doing so well. Our practices are benefiting, and we're, I always believe in, give and you shall receive. That's that Christian background in me. I tell people I'm a PK, I'm a pastor's kid. And so definitely when we do things like this, when we write articles, we don't like to give fluff. We like to give real life things. And like I said, we're living that life. And so as we're in the process of moving forward, and we've already began the process of commercializing this, and we still have new things that are coming. So if you get a demo set up now, the doctors that are locked in now, by I think fourth quarter, there's going to be something even better with this software. So you definitely want to get in now, see what it looks like, get it implemented into practice, because as we update, which we do and have done since we started this process, it just gets better. And so we didn't start off with the attribute ability. Now we just once you go live, it's there. And now it's just a part of our practice and the part of those doctors' practices that are using this platform. So we have something really big coming up. It should be really ready to launch, I would say mid Q4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mid Q4. And it's going to be a game changer.
That's awesome. I'm just you can tell I'm having fun with the banners here. We've talked about StreamYard and producing a show here. So if you see me look away, I'm typing away and throwing up some information for you guys.
And
but,
I want to reiterate that, working with my wife, seeing how optometrists are kind of squeezed from every angle.
Yeah.
Every angle, this is, when I talk to people, I'm sincere when I say this is designed, developed with the private OD in mind. So if somebody comes to me and they're not a private OD and they're trying to fish around, they might not get a demo, because I really want to, the private ODs need an advocate in software and just being able to get the business to where you want it to get, because, there's a lot of threats from every side, from, online to, there's threats coming from every angle. And so, when we design this is made for private ODs. I don't know about what corporate, companies are doing, but I know private ODs don't have advocates a lot of times, and that's what this is.
Absolutely. And I had some really good advice one time when I had a consultant way back in the day, and it was, we had just come from a corporate situation into private practice, and we were still practicing as though we were in the corporate location, offering all kinds of discounts, not valuing our services. We ended up incorporating specialties just like you guys are with the dry eye. It's amazing. And he actually said, you have to figure out which sandbox you want to play in. Do you want to stay in the corporate sandbox, or do you want to start acting like a private practice? And packaging is an absolute natural progression from moving away from, maybe you're just spinning the dials as a corporate optometrist, to we've got to really think about what's in the best interest as far as the materials and the packages and the products that we're selling to our patients that fit their particular lifestyle. So absolutely what you're doing is, it is a paradigm shift. And why I wanted to bring you guys on, I'm so excited about this product. And I'm now even more excited because of the extra stuff that you have. And I had no idea that you even considered the insurances and being able to price those out, making it easy for the staff to sell, and also having the medical aspect of it. So I wouldn't, I'm a big proponent of having specialties in your practice. And that's kind of what I've niched to, is I help specialty practices market themselves, because it's really easy to set yourself apart when you do have a subspecialty. And you guys are making it really easy by incorporating that into the software. A question on that is, if it doesn't have to be dry eye, but if you have, tell me what else, let's say, because I worked in a practice that had vision therapy, and most of it was more service oriented, not so much product oriented. Is that something that, you could package as well as is into the software?
Services?
Yeah.
Definitely. Well,
Okay.
I'm a technologist, so I believe you can do
anything. You can do anything.
It's true. I was telling my wife the other day that sometimes we limit ourselves because, we don't let our dreams become reality. And some of the enhancements that we've done, I've kind of held off on it because my wife is the visionary. I'm the statistician. I'm going to overanalyze everything. And so sometimes, with technology, there's a lot you can do. So services, most definitely. Cool. Packaging is the way to go. Yep. It's the way to go, period. Whatever you can package it. Efficiency, margin, really what's the best solution, because then you're offering the solution, and you're not, because a lot of cases, after the handoff, the patient is telling you what they want as opposed to what is the solution that the doctor recommended. So, from services, and we from a technology standpoint, we always like to ideate, we like to stay ahead. We always are on the whiteboard writing down our ideas, and any service is one thing that we talk about, anything that we can package.
Awesome.
Yeah, services and products. Right now we implement the products. So like I said, a lot of nutraceuticals. So I have a discussion at the end about, dietary supplements and things that you can take. And I make those recommendations, and that could populate forward. If I see medrosis on the eyelid, or a woman is asking about lash growth or strengthening lashes, I can make that recommendation, and they go out there and purchase their lash serums that we sell in the office that are drug-free and gonna reduce complications for dry eyes. So we're constantly thinking about that, as he was talking, if you probably tune in, we're two nerds who actually fell in love.
Oh,
so
I
we're
get
always
it.
thinking about things. I'm a scientist, he's an engineer. So we're happy, gleeful nerds. And so we're constantly always thinking about ways that we can just enhance the experience for our patients, but at the same time, get yourself to that practice of your dreams, as IDOC would say. Help practitioners live the practice of their dreams. And sometimes you have to be able to kind of think outside the box to get there, and implement things outside of the box to help you get there. And so, yes to your question. Anything is possible. And as we keep thinking of ideas, we keep working with our developers and our coders, and we make it happen.
That's awesome. So when you guys, I had asked this in the beginning, if there's somebody out there, not your kind of software, but any kind of software, because there's so many holes that we could fill with software to, speed up some of the automations and whatnot. How does someone go about creating software? Did you just kind of go out there? I mean, obviously, Jimmie, you know how to do a lot of this stuff anyway, but were there connections that you had? You don't have to go into detail, but were there connections that you just sort of reached out to, or did you go online and find, people that know how to code software?
Right.
What kind of was the process for you guys?
Right. Obviously I won't go into the low level details, but I'll just say that, yes, I have a background in technology. So just knowing the right questions to ask and, who to go to. There's a lot of resources out there, a lot of good resources. So, with us, we always are thinking about user experience. Yep. How do you simplify the experience? How do you improve the experience? So with me, we have a lot of design sessions where the two of us talk about the patient journey and how do you make the journey from when they actually make an appointment to when they're leaving your office a smooth one and as efficient as possible. So, with software, obviously you can do quite a few things. So, we write it down on paper. We do presentations that, I guess are we sketch out what we want and we present it to our developers, and they make it pretty. But you write it down and they make it pretty, and we just communicate to them how we want it to work in the background, what the calculations are. We want to have a few clicks and that's it. And we want the presentation to look good, and you can get developers to do anything you want if you can dream and go past what you can see.
And then too, like you said, he had a technology background, so he was actually working with some big time developers and coders for million dollar companies, and so he had the ability to call them up and say, hey, something like this feasible, what would be the route? And so the key is to find mentors, find people that you could talk to and say, I have this idea, which route should I take? And every idea starts in the head and goes on paper. So there's no different in sketching frames. So you got to draw it out, and then you got to find somebody that can take that drawing and actually produce it for a prototype. It's kind of what we did. And then you get a prototype and then you go live. So it's the same process. It's just in the software space. But you have to have an idea and write the idea down and in your head. And once you get on paper, you know how you want it to look. Then, like you said, you find those people who are versed in those skills to make it look pretty.
That's awesome. How long from inception to your first beta version?
Right. So we've evolved this thing over, I guess, the last 3 years. The first release, which was just in our office, I don't know, took maybe a few months, maybe 6 months for the first release. And then we had beta testing after that on another release that had more features. To where we're at right now, it took us probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years to get to where we are now. But that's with, a lot of back and forth, a lot of fixing defects and getting feedback from the doctors that we were working with. So it didn't have to take that long. Yeah. Really as fast as you can present an idea and get it to, the person and then they can get it back to you just as fast. And so that's our thing right now. We want we want to move fast.
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
juggling
sure.
our practice and 2 kids. And so
Well, right.
independent, you know, so it typically probably could be something that's maybe a 6 to maybe say 12-month process for most people.
Sure.
But you know, we did this ourselves, and so and that's juggling our practice. We've relocated our practice. We have an 8 and 12-year-old travel baseball competition cheer. So we're like all over the place. And so, so
Yeah,
it doesn't have to take that long. Yeah, we're here and there, we're everywhere, you know.
we're just throwing out this software just for the heck of it, you know.
In between
In
practices.
between patients on our lunch breaks. And, you know, and Jimmie, you're so cute. You say, oh, she's the visionary, but I'm just the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you're the implementer or the,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's true.
That's what he is. He's an
execution
implementer.
That's
or
true.
whatever. Yeah. So
She
now
puts
you
it
guys
out there,
are
and I figure it out.
perfect team, though. I mean, it couldn't be better. You know, it's just such the right combination, obviously, for this particular project and everything else, obviously, in your lives. But it's so wonderful to see, you know, and working together and then creating this amazing product. And what I want to point out is everybody that gets into it now has the benefit of the 3 years of really, really refining it and making it the amazing product it is. I know I sound like I'm, you know, I just keep boosting it, but I just really from a marketing standpoint, being a marketing strategist, there's so many pieces to this that I can see, you know, pull out of it and create a marketing campaign from it, from both a practitioner's, you know, standpoint and from a standpoint of for you guys. I mean, there's just so much potential here. It's amazing. Is there anything I didn't ask you? Is there a question that maybe I forgot to ask, or if there, you know, what else, anything else that you'd like to mention?
You know, Dr. Janelle, she mentioned, you know, enhancements. We're constantly thinking about new things. So, you know, we have a pretty major one that we're going to have Q4. She mentioned that, and you know, I think it's a game changer. So, you know, we got to get there. It's a subscription model. You know, so what that means is it's a
Perfect.
monthly fee for doctors. It's low risk. When I say low risk, you know, we're not like a lot of people locking you in for a year. It's low risk. You know, I suggest anybody do a demo and you take your chances, but it's very low risk. And I'm confident in it. I'm confident in what it does. So because of that, you know, we know that once you implement it and you actually have the support of the doctor, you know, and the office manager, it will work for you. What did I miss?
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. How can we, you know, besides what we're doing tonight, and of course I'll be sharing this like crazy on social media, how can others help get the word out about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, how can others help get the word out?
Mm-hmm.
Put the word out.
There you go.
share this video, of course. You know, we have a couple of doctors that are strong advocates. You know, we like to lean on them also. And again, you know, for those who are listening, this is sincerely for the private OD. So if you're looking for something that is an advocate of your business, of your industry, you know, being private ODs, you know, I think you should be passionate about it, you know, regardless of, you know, benefits to Dr. Janelle. It's just the fact that this is for private ODs. So I you know, hope that people share this video. Check out the website, set up a demo. You know, 30 minutes at the most, and it's quick. And you know, I say it's very easy to do the demo and set it up, and you know, low risk for the doctor to actually try it out.
I'm going to put a little banner here just because I can.
I love the banners.
Have
Low
you
risk, high
guys?
reward.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and I love that, of course, having been a private practitioner for 15 years, it's just so important. And we feel like, you know, with like you said, squeezing from every side and private equity firms coming in and, you know, getting some of these private practices, we need all the help that we can get for sure. Have you guys gone into the schools at all, the optometry schools, to do any kind of presentations or anything? That just was something that made me think about it.
Yeah,
So.
no, we haven't. Mm-mm.
Yeah. because that might be a place that, because I know that some of the schools are starting to get, they'll form clubs. I don't know if they all do, if just some of them do, where they have
Private
clubs
practice
where,
clubs, yeah.
yeah, the private
Mhm.
practitioner clubs for sure. And then I'm sure you guys have talked to Dr. Glover, and he's definitely need to get on his show if you haven't already. And just, you guys are amazing. I am incredibly impressed by what you've done. Let's just get the word out, and I will do the best I can to get the word out as well. And hang around after we close out the show, and we'll chat a little bit more if you guys don't mind.
All right, cool.
I'm going to just bring this down and let you guys hang up there and just say thanks to those watching live or on the replay. Thank you both for taking the time out of your very busy day to join us for the innovation segment, because this is a major innovation in the eye care industry, but the innovation segment of eye care, marketing insights, innovation, and impact. I'm your host, Dr. Sandy Eveleth, your eye care marketing OD. As a certified master marketer and certified digital business consultant, I love helping eye care professionals attract more ideal patients to maximize their wealth, time, and practice growth. If you'd like to book an innovative strategic marketing session with me, go to where it says on the banner, drsandyeveleth.com, book Dr. Sandy. And thanks again. I look forward to seeing all of you next time.